Shameless. United in the Europa League. Europa League. Let me tell them one time, and we say Europa League. Europa.
I'm Breathe. How is everybody doing? Welcome back to United View. This is the full-time view where members can call in. They can have their say. It was Porto 3, Manchester United 3. Manchester United have one win in their last 10 European games. Manchester United have conceded 3 goals. The most time out of any Premier League side since Erik ten Hag came in. Manchester United have conceded 2+ goals, the most of any Premier League side since the beginning of last season. Erik ten Hag possibly lives to fight another day, that day being Sunday. It was just awful, wasn't it, really? I mean, I'm sure for the neutral, they probably enjoyed that game. Not a neutral, though. And I don't think many people will be a neutral that are going to be watching this show. It's just awful. Again, there's not really there's not many ways to describe it. It's just a horrible watch. And that's not just this show, that's Manchester United's game as well. But this is the full-time view. Members can call in, they can have their say. And if you do wish to become a member, you can do so. Links in the video description. It's also pinned in the chat. Or you can click the join button. If you are a member, go over to the United View YouTube page and you will see the link to call in and have your say. Where should we start? We'll see what people are saying in the chat and then we'll get some of the calls. Jonathan says 3 wins in 10 games. Abby says, am I relieved or pissed off? Probably a bit of both. Dimitri says Ten Hag out. Players were awful. Big up, everyone, says Araya. So make sure you get your opinions in and we'll get them up on the screen as we go through the calls. Right, speaking of which, let's get straight into it. Let's start with the first call. Where we're going to start this evening. Make sure I've got my background set. Indeed, I do. Let's start off with Show. Show, does anything surprise you anymore with Manchester United or that performance tonight?
No. I was watching it with the same expressions that you were watching it with. Like when we went 2-0 up, I was like, it's sad, but we're almost waiting for it to come back to 2-2. When we went 2-1, I was like, it's going to be 2-2 before half-time. And then it's so sad that I wanted to be wrong about this, but I texted my mate at half-time. I go, watch us concede first 5 minutes of second half, because that's the Ten Hag trademark. We've done that so many times under Ten Hag, and 49th minute conceded. And it's just funny because all of the bad traits we've developed under Ten Hag, we did it all in one match today. Like dropping a lead, conceding from a cross, conceding from a cutback. We saw it all in one game. Not being able to keep the ball.
Red card.
The red card. Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know. It's just boring at this point when you watch it. Just like, okay, all right, it happened again. And then I just seen another stat. We're creating mad stats recently. We've scored 12 goals in our last 4 away games and not won a single one of them. Like, how is that possible? What other team? I've never seen. In my life, I've not seen a team score 12 goals in 4 away games in Europe and not win one. It's harder to do that. That's the funnier thing. Yeah. It's harder to do that, and then it's just like, I don't know. It's just, the days are numbered now. I think Villa will finish us off on Sunday, and then that'll be it. I think tonight, if like you said, I think if we had lost tonight, he would have been gone tonight, I think. But I think he's got himself one more game. But yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for the inevitable on Sunday, which is sad to say, but I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point.
No, I agree with you. Me and Casey just did some trying to chat about the game afterwards, and it feels weird to almost try and talk about the game because you kind of can't. And again, I echo what you were saying in the sense of it's just very familiar. You know what I mean? It's very predictable. I think it's mad that we as fans can go 2-0 up and we know our initial reaction isn't necessarily to celebrate. It's just like, we know we're going to concede 2. Like, just wait. And the moment the first comes, we go, the second's going to come, and it's not going to come after halftime, it'll come before. And then to your point, the next trope is, the halftime. I'd love to know what happens at halftime, by the way.
I would as well.
Apparently nothing. Apparently nothing happens at halftime because we're just as bad, if not worse, straight afterwards. And then, I don't know. Like you said, the subs from had. I mean, look, Maguire scored today, so probably he's in a.
I don't know if someone's going to ask him about that and he's going to be cocky about it or what, but I've never seen a manager change the centre backs so much in his managerial career as Ten Hag does. I'd love to know the thinking behind. I remember going back to the end of the first season when we were 1-0 down against Newcastle. A few weeks after we beat them in the Carabao Cup final, he took Varane and Martinez off.
Yeah.
I remember he's been doing it since then. It's such a weird thing. Obviously, today Maguire scored, so people are going to say, "Oh, but it worked out." But the actual thinking behind it, I've never understood it. But he does it all the time. Today we had no legs in midfield. He bought Ugarte, didn't even come on. Was Ugarte not on the bench? Or maybe I got that wrong.
I think he was on the bench. Yeah, I think.
So it's again, that's another very weird decision. Again, I mean, I'll just be honest. People are going to say I'm being reactionary. I don't rate the Ugarte signing. I don't rate the player. I'll just be honest about it. But if you have bought the guy for the purpose of the guy has legs, you've got Eriksen and Casemiro in midfield. If you're getting run through the middle of the pitch like we did again today, you would have thought he'd be one of the subs that came on. But I guess Maguire and Evans was more of an important sub to bring on. But it's just you're watching it. You're just like, it's just like, what am I watching when you're watching it? That's it.
I've got some news for you, Show, and actually, I'm glad I'm talking to you here, right? So, obviously, look, defensively was not doing great, Marcus Rashford, but he did get a goal and an assist. People were wondering why he was taken off at half-time. Erik ten Hag says Marcus Rashford was taken off due to rotation and not due to injury. What are your thoughts on that?
Due to rotation, you're taking off a player at half-time when it's 2-2. And he had João Mario on toast in the first half. Yes. Rotation. You're trying to save your job. You're taking a player off for rotation. 2-2 away in Europe. What? Yeah. He must have a collection of mad stuff that he's now said in press conferences by now, because that's a new one. I've never ever heard a manager say that in my life.
Yeah.
Who takes a player off at halftime for rotation unless they're not like 5-0 up or something? That's crazy. Yeah.
I was under the assumption that, again, when it came to, and it's hilarious, isn't it? Because of all of the times we wanted Marcus Rashford to be taken off at halftime in games or whatever, when he does. And look, granted, I look at both of the goals and I say Rashford could have done more, stopping the cross. He was not doing his defensive work. But to your point, he had the full back on toast. Every time he did cut inside, looked like he was going to score or get something going.
Yeah.
And he got taken off for rotation.
And what's worse is, I'll be real, Garnacho was atrocious when he came on second half. Garnacho was awful. No. I mean, not many was. I mean, again, look, the Martinez conversation is going to happen soon, because I've been saying it for a week. He's been dog shit for a long time. And I think the reason is because he doesn't have Varane next to him anymore. I'll be real. But there were a lot of players that were off. But that thing you've just said is, that's crazy. And stuff like that is why when he gets sacked, I can't feel sorry for him. I'm sorry. I can't.
Or if he says, don't judge us in this moment, judge us at the end of the season, is what he said. What
end of the season? You're not going to be here. What are you talking? Don't judge us now. We've already conceded 12 goals this season, Owen. What do you mean don't judge us now? This is the mad thing. Like, this is like, he doesn't. This is the people have mentioned this before. Communication wise, the way he talks, it's not good. It's really, really bad, the stuff he says, and it makes it worse. Like that, it compounds what we've just seen today.
Yeah, it's mad. It's bad. I mean, I don't know what to say. Big up, Show. Appreciate you. Just some of those quotes, actually, so people can see what they're dealing with before they come on. So, yes, Erik ten Hag said that Marcus Rashford was taken off due to rotation, not due to injury. He says, we have 2 seasons where we achieve finals. Just wait. We have to develop. He says, don't judge us in this moment. Judge us at the end of the season. He says, we will get there. We will get there. Don't judge us in this moment. Judge us at the end of the season. We will improve. He also said, we had 3 clean sheets not so long ago, so we can defend. We have to go back to those habits. Only then can you win games. It's, some of the stuff. And this is where I remember Flex said a while ago when Flex was saying, this was last season, actually. And I pushed back on some of the things. I said, well, Flex, what's he going to say in certain things? But there's got to be better ways of phrasing it. And I get it. It's not his first language and stuff like that. But some of the stuff, like with the Rashford sub, this is the quote: we have to rotate. We have a hard game on Sunday, so we need players fit and fresh, is what he said. K-Flow with the super chat says, made 5 subs and not one in midfield, conceding for fun from the left and no adjustment. When does it end? Rubbish. And he also said, I think he's after his payout. Let's get to another call. Let's go to Amanor. Amanor, how do you dissect what you saw this evening?
Good evening, Owen. I know we're going to talk about the manager, but if we just park that to one side, just talk about this individual players and the game this evening. I actually want to start off with a slight positive, and the positive is that Onana, I thought played all right. I know people will say his passing is not as good as Diogo Costa. I've seen some people say that, but actually he made some crucial saves at important moments, and it could have been a lot worse for us. And when I heard Marcel say a couple of months ago that, I agree, Onana's probably not the goalkeeper for me long term, but I did hear rumours that if we were to get rid of Onana, Diogo Costa would be the keeper for that. And I've seen Diogo Costa there, and I don't know what he was playing, but oh gosh, he was horrendous for those first 2 goals that that they conceded. So that's the only positive I'll say of that match. But in terms of certain players, before we talk about the manager and the performance, De Ligt and Martinez as a partnership, that's probably the worst performance I've seen both of them together. They looked. Robbie Savage said it on the commentary as well. I didn't pay much attention until Robbie Savage started pointing out in terms of how disconnected they were. One was in front of them when they're trying to play offside; they were not in sync. Martinez got burnt for the second goal when the player ran past him. And De Ligt, his positioning for both the first goal and the second goal, and also Martinez on the first goal as well when the Onana saved it from a Mazraoui header. Ironically, he was just not in the right place for those 2 individuals. That was a horrendous performance, and that needs to be called out. And this fan base has this romantic view of Martinez and to a certain extent De Ligt, but when they've had a rubbish game, we need to call them out, and I won't stand for that. If that, let me just put it this way: if Maguire did that, and our fan base have this anti-Maguire agenda, some of them do, you will not be hearing. Sorry, you would be hearing lots of that. A lot of abuse would have been hurled at Maguire had he done that. The fact it was Martinez and De Ligt, where is that? Where's that energy? Where's that accountability for them? So they need to be held accountable for. Other players I want to mention is that Ericsson, another positive for me. Again, people said to me his legs are gone. I thought his legs are gone, but this guy seems to be proving me wrong in terms of he can play the number 10. I don't understand why we're insisting. If we know what Bruno's out of form, and we're going to talk about Bruno in a second, but this guy created our second goal, and the way he created that second goal was a knockdown from Højlund, and he ran with that ball, set up Marcus Rashford, who then set up Højlund to score that goal. So there are one or two players who are playing well, but overall, the key players who are not standing up for, especially Bruno, they need to be held accountable for. So yeah, and Rashford, I want to give credit for Rashford as well. So those are the players I want to give a shout out to, Rowan.
Yeah, well, what do you make of with Rashford then? Because as he's just said that he took him off not because he was injured, because of rotation. Is he sounding a bit deluded there? Do you?
I think
I
think he's lying. He's either lying or he's concussed, or he's suffering the first stages of dementia. I don't know what. I'm one of those 3. I don't know which one it is, because how can you? I'm not Rashford's biggest fan. I've said it many times that this guy should be sold for the betterment of his career and for the future of the club. But he was our only threat. I'm sure KG said it, or you guys said it on other channels said it. He was our only threat, and yes, it was a lucky goal that he scored, but that doesn't matter. The fact that is he was that threat. You took him off for rotation. Rotation for what? You may not be even a manager in the next game. You're assuming you might be the manager for the Villa game Sunday. You should be focusing now getting those 3 points for us. And I think was it you, Owen, who said Erik ten Hag is a very good trophy manager, but when it comes to league, he tends to suffer. And now the Europa League is in a league format. The team's suffering. So
yeah, I think it was GJE said it last time on the full-time view. Then when he said it, I went, "That's so true." Actually, once we get into leagues, we're in trouble.
Look, have you seen where we are in the league? But I think he showed it. We're 20th in that Europa League. So it's just like, we can. Everyone's going to have their say in the manager, and I've said my managers out. But for me, I'm on Ineos watch again. I am on Ineos watch. I want to know what Ineos are doing. I'm sure Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, and I'm sure would have been watching that match. They would have been at Porto. I want to see what they're saying, and I want to see what action they take over the international break, because we don't deserve this, Owen. I mean, last season, finishing 8th with negative goal difference, and I've heard fans say the season's a write-off already, and we're in mid-October. I don't know where we are, early October, and the season's a
Early
write-off.
October, yeah.
Yeah, I lost track of days. Sorry, I don't want that, Owen.
United will do that to you. United will do that to you.
No,
They make you feel like concussed.
You know, but Owen, come on, you're a content creator. You don't want to be saying now at the early October the season's a write-off. Can you stomach that? Do you want to stomach that?
No. Again, and this is what angers me. And I was saying this during the match view is I just push back on that. This is not the idea or the spin that this is new, or the spin that this is just we're 7 games into the season or whatever, or it's like 9, I think now, games into the season. But this is exactly what happened to us in the Champions League last season. These like chaotic matches, 3-3, 4-3. You know, this evening it could have been more than 3-3. And at the weekend, our second 3-0 defeat at home of the season, like it's nothing new anymore, is it? And that's where I go back to like, well, how can we look forward more to the future? Like you say, of saying the season's a write-off. And the reason it feels like it is because doesn't feel any light at the end of the tunnel here, does there?
Yeah, and Owen, you know what it is? He hasn't even learned. I'll give you an example. You know the Tottenham game. It was 2-0. I can't remember what the score was. 2-0 half. Was it 1-0 half time? 2-0. We went into half time. We came out of the half time. I don't know what team talk it gave to the players, and we conceded within the first 2 minutes of the second half. Same thing again. Second half came. They were on the break. They nearly scored, and then 2 minutes later they scored again. So
yeah,
what is he telling them at half time? Does he not learn from his mistakes, the manager, in terms of, look, we were 2-0 up, we're 2-2, first 10, 15 minutes, just steady the ship, keep your shape, just defend behind the ball, just keep it at 2-2, and then build your attack. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going to smash my head against the laptop. I'm losing it now.
Well, don't do that. Amador. Big up. Appreciate you as always. But I think that's how many people feel at the moment, isn't it? It's just like, it's all cagey at the end of the game. My goodness me, what a defeated man. And actually, yeah, UV Clips once again. I always just say this, by the way. And I got a message from UV Clips the other day. I was like, what are you talking about? What are these things? But UV Clips, I would love to see a video, of KG, like however many stages of grief there are. I swear to God, he went through every single one. At one point, he just started laughing maniacally. Then he stopped talking. I think he was on the verge of tears at one point. And that's in the space of like 90 minutes. That's what United will do to you. He was talking about doing stand-up at funerals. I'm thinking this guy's lost his mind. Like, it's mad. That's what United does. So, Eric Ten Hag, he's busy, but he's here for a super chat, says, if we lose everything but somehow win Europa, does that redeem me? No, it does not. It does not. Where are we going to go next? Let's go to Uncle. Uncle, what sage advice have you got for me this evening?
Oh, and I don't know. KG was going through 5 stages of grief. I don't even have anything to grieve for anymore. Like you were saying, when we were 2-0 up, I was looking at the game and I was like, we are not even convincing. You know how bad it is, Owen?
How bad
Things are so bad that Liverpool fans would see their team go 2-0 up and they'll be like, yes, this is it, game done.
Yeah.
Man City fans will see their teams go 2-0 up. In fact, sometimes 1-0 up and they'll be like, this is it, game done.
Yeah.
We see our team go 2-0 up and we are still not confident that we are going to win that match.
No,
that is how bad.
If I'm watching Man City or Liverpool play or Arsenal play or whatever, and they go 2-0 up in a game, I stop watching. Like, there's no point.
That's it. Yes, because there's nothing. Arsenal went 2-0 up yesterday in the Champions League, and that was it. They just locked up the rest of the second half. There was nothing to play for. We cannot manage the game. we cannot manage a game. Our ancestors would say, when the music changes, the dance should change accordingly. You cannot be dancing salsa to R&B or be dancing some African Afrobeats to blues. It does not work.
It would be weird.
You're too null up. Adapt to what you're seeing in the game.
Yes.
Adapt your strategy to what you're. Well, all of the I can't advise Ten Hag. This is, I think that is kind of a spilled milk. The damage has been done. Harry Maguire, unfortunately, the captain who is dropped for almost the whole season, has probably given him a lifeline here. You know, how ironic.
Do you think it's a lifeline, though, or do you think it's just a stay of execution?
Yeah, well, probably, anyhow you want to put it. But our manager has decided that maybe that 17 million payout is suddenly looking more appealing. You know, tell me why he removed. You know, Owen, the last time we spoke, I told you, I said Bruno is definitely going to play during the week, is he not?
Yes.
And we both said yes. Why can't this manager just drop Bruno? What is so special, especially when his red card was rescinded in the Premier League? This could have been the best time to say, okay, since your red card has been rescinded, that means you can play the Aston Villa game. Sit this game out and come back for the Aston Villa game. Tell me what exactly, what point is this manager trying to prove that he must play Bruno? Sunday,
I can't tell you.
Bruno is going to play.
Yeah, he's going to
This
play.
Sunday, Bruno will start. Is it not this Sunday? He will probably do another reckless thing on Sunday. But we are where we are.
Could he get three reds in a row? Do you think he could actually do that?
At this point, like I said, you know, when bad luck is following you, what Bruno needs is to sit out. So just go out of that. Go out. You know, step back a little. Sometimes retreat is not surrender. Retreat is so that you go and plan better. You know, but the manager has said, I'm glad with the time I spent with the grandkids, because I wasn't even so invested in the game. You know, if I knew KG's kids were there, I would have told them to come over. Let me, let me tell all of them stories of the war. You know, and
why is it you war stories, man? That's the second time.
You know, we fought gallantly. We men that survived the war.
Do you have many more stories that don't involve war?
It is, but no, the children need to learn how to fight. If we had been telling our players, if our players knew how to fight, Owen, we will not be in this situation. If our players knew how to fight, we will not be in this situation. What are we talking about?
Well, I would like to know, before we move on, did you how is your blood pressure? Did you have your inhaler this time around? Are you well stocked?
My brother, there is nothing to stock up on again. I am covered. Good. You know, my insurance company, the medical insurance, you know, I can't even claim anything. I've used up everything. There's nothing remaining. Man U has finished everything.
That doesn't sound good.
What will I do? That is why I'm no more invested in the club, because any little thing now I will pay out of my pocket. So let me just focus on my
more
grandchildren.
Stories. Yeah, more stories. Oh man, I'm good. I'm covered. Oh, good, man. I'm good. I'm good to hear your house doing well. I've claimed way too much. I can't claim anymore. That doesn't sound good and covered, uncle. That sounds the complete opposite of it, actually. You're not covered in the slightest. Well, you know, uncle, wisdom. That's what that is. Where are we at? We got over 1,000 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button. Let's go to another call. Jules, look, you ran out of insurance because of United. General. That's what I'll say next time he calls in, General. Where am I going to next? Eminem, what did you make of what you saw this evening? The chaos that we saw this evening.
Um, I was watching the stream as side by side, and I was just like, it was comedy, man. It was comedy. That's what it was. First of all, I thought Rashford was really, really good. Uh, really good in being like the structure, the team, the game plan wasn't even helping him to be that good. He was getting the ball deep from the halfway line and then going up and taking on his man. There was no fullback to support him. And look, normally Rashford would have a bad performance like that, but he did well today. Um, yeah, and then it just seems like we are at the period where it was meant to be like Watford 4-1 for it was Ollie, and now it's for Ten Hag. But
Yeah.
now during the Ollie period, there's a lot of like all the fans were just screaming. It was really toxic. People just wanted Ollie gone, and people wanted a new manager because they could take that team forward. Right now, it just feels like I've got no emotion at the moment. I know it's going to happen.
Defeated, isn't it?
It's defeated. We
Yeah.
lost it, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Actually, I know some people are like abusing Ten Hag for doing the substitution for halftime. I kind of get his reason for it for Rashford, considering that these two games are meant to be a test for him, and I think he assumed that Garnacho coming in, they could get the win, but that's just Eric Ten Hag's delusion playing in, and yeah, against Villa, I don't think we've got no chance.
What do you make of Bruno? Second red card in consecutive games. This one won't be overturned. It's 2 yellows, of course. Does it kind of match up just with his performances in general? At the moment, he's doing everything he can to not be in the team, but he's still gonna play the weekend as well.
Yeah, pretty much. This that was just pure Bruno. Back to back red cards. It only could happen to him, especially in this period. Yeah, it was obviously he didn't touch the player, but it was a bad foul. It was still high up. And I thought initially in moments he started the game well because he was a little bit deeper and Eriksen was a bit more forward. But then it just became a period where like people they didn't know the position, and Bruno was just going into the box, and Bruno was doing his thing. I think it's positive. I don't know. Did he miss like 3 games for Europa League, or?
I think it's one. It'll be one. I mean, I can't recall a time as well where people were saying back-to-back red cards, but also he got sent off for 2 yellow cards in the same game. That was the same offence. He got sent off for the same thing twice. That is incredible.
It is insane. Incredible. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, this is just a story of Man United at the moment. It's like the trajectory. It all matches Bruno's red card, Man United falling, Eric Ten Hag failing.
Yeah.
All of it is just I mean, the story's written now. Yeah, Eric Ten Hag's he hasn't got that much time left, and you know what? I think we should start listening to Uncle's war stories. I think they'll be more entertaining.
I tell you what, that's not a bad shout, actually. Maybe after the weekend, depending on how that Villa result goes, maybe we'll just get Uncle just to tell us some war stories. Well, I don't even know, actually, if he can say them. Thinking about that, war's pretty grim. I'm not sure that's going to be the frothy 45-minute call-in show that we're looking for, actually, Eminem. that idea went from good to bad very quick enough. Well, actually, that might be quite bad with Uncle. Yeah, big up Eminem. Maybe we'll have to sort of switch ads off for that one. How many likes are we currently at? We're still nearly 1,000 people watching, 253 likes. What are people saying here in the chat here at the moment? Top player says a high kick on a yellow is just dumb. That's where I kind of feel a bit. I get it. You know, they're like, oh, I didn't really touch him or what have you, but he literally got sent off for the 2 yellow cards for the same offence. You've established in the first half the ref's going to be on it about those things, and the second one was higher because he jumped. I thought the one in the first half maybe was a bit harsh, but he should know. He's a captain. And also, he's playing shit. Like, he's just playing rubbish at the moment as well. There's no justifying it. And once again, he's off the pitch. You could argue United played better. We scored. We didn't score on the weekend, but this time we equalised. It's just... Simon says, I'm just happy it's over now. God, that feels like a negative exam or something, doesn't it? Xterra says, yes, as we said, Rashford, Ten Hag has confirmed that he was sub for rotation. He's also said, Ten Hag, Garnacho was my best player on Sunday by far over the left side. We didn't defend well, and Marcus also plays a part in this. But it was about Garnacho and nothing about Rashi. You kind of just said, though, it's a bit about Marcus with what you said there. Yeah, just... And the problem is, and Flex is right when it comes to this. Flex is right when it comes to, like, when you have a negative result or you've played badly, and I get that sometimes you want to come out and you'll just say stuff. Press conferences, as I've said, they're largely bullshit, but you can't come out and just start saying mad shit. Because if you do start doing that, people will really start going, you just seem crazy at this point. You can't say some of the stuff that you're saying. Yeah, mad. Right, let's go to another call. Let's go to Chalaboy Comics. What do you make of the chaos that you saw this evening?
Oh, and I need to ask Uncle for his cardiologist because I think I might need it too, because
yeah,
I think United fans right now, we deserve to claim a class action lawsuit against the club for our general health and mental well-being, because the roller coaster of this club is too much sometimes. We're always kings of the dramatic, whether it's good or bad. It's gonna be dramatic either way to the extreme. But Ten Hag survives again. He survives one more game, and I'm so glad we got this result. Only because a lot of times, at the start of the season, it was like, oh, do we want performances? Do we want results? This wasn't a good result because we should be winning, but I don't care about performances now. I just want results, because that's the only way that's going to give any semblance of time to this group to figure it out. You just have to get the results. And I'm actually glad that you read out the latest quotes about Erik Ten Hag with regards to Marcus Rashford, because when he got subbed off at halftime, my first initial response was, or my first response or initial response, whichever one you want to say, was, I hope it's not for injury, because I want it to be because Rashford was defensively poor. And that's why Ten Hag was like, look, if I keep this guy on this pitch, we're going to lose the game. I'm going to lose my job. So to see him come out and say the whole thing about Garnacho sort of like reemphasize what I was seeing on the pitch. And it was just a lack of application on the defensive end. I understand that Rashford has, did well going forward, but the same goal happened twice from that left side. We weren't closing people down. We were losing our duels. And that comes to a point where it's about attitude and application. And so the fact that Ten Hag at least made that change, I was happy with. But on the flip side, on the other side of the pitch, how the hell did he take off Ahmad? Because Ahmad seemed to be the only one who was given a defensive effort and also trying to create well, even though his players or his teammates weren't playing through him, were ignoring him and taking wild shots. So it was frustrating to see Ahmad go off. And what I wanted to happen when I saw Anthony warming up on the bench, I was like, I really hope he's taking Bruno off, moving Ahmad to the 10 and bringing Anthony on the right. But it's Ten Hag. He's not going to do that. And what does Bruno end up doing? Through a display of what I thought was cowardice, he didn't go with his head. He went with his foot and got a second yellow. So he has no one to blame but himself. I was high on him at the start of this season, but he just needs time away to reestablish himself and come back stronger, because that was just not good enough for Man United captain.
What do you think happens at the weekend? Again, are we into a territory where it is a stay of execution? Is it a last gasp turnaround? Obviously, can't predict the future, but actually, maybe the better phrase is just, are you surprised with what you saw this evening? When we go 2-0 up, then we're 2-2, like 10 minutes later. Are you surprised by that anymore?
No, I'm not surprised. I guess I'm not surprised in terms of that's just our habits, but my hope or my feeling was that at least at the start of the season, we were getting rid of those habits, like, a little slowly by slowly. We were getting men behind the ball quicker than we were our previous season. We were closing our spaces a little bit more compact. But then we just seem to lose those things in moments. And when you talk about what's going to happen, next week, when I was watching this game and it got to 3-2, part of me was just saying, oh, damn, this is a game that Erik Ten Hag usually manages to scrape through. And the fact that we're not winning, if he loses this game, this is pretty much writing on the wall, because this is the type of game where it's like, if you lose, you're out your job. He wins it or he draws it, right? And he did that today with the last gasp Harry Maguire, header. So I'm thinking if I apply that logic to next week, where it's a must-win before international break, we're gonna beat Villa. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna beat Villa. I think he needs to bring Evans into the lineup, to be honest. Maybe Felicia, and maybe play Evans and De Ligt. But we're gonna do it. I don't know how. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. But it's just because it's a game we have to win. And Erik ten Hag, he's a survivor. I don't know how he does it, but let's see. I don't know.
Hey, Chalaboy Comics, yeah. Can I have what some of you're taking? Because
you don't think so?
Villa. Well, to be fair, look, who am I to say if people don't have a feeling stuff's going to happen? Because I've sat on a stream this evening watching that absolute shit show, and then you get a corner and KG goes, Maguire will score a header, and I go, KG, what makes you say that? And then Maguire does it. So who am I to say? But I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
We'll see. Because the thing is, look, I'm not saying that we're the better team. Obviously not. I watched Villa play against Bayern, and again, the ferocity and intensity is palpable. The problem is, why aren't we seeing that from United across the whole game? Is Erik ten Hag at the end of the day is responsible for making his team, apply themselves. However, what I would say is that this is a perfect time for Ineos to come in and provide support for the manager, whereby they stand behind him in his decisions, where it's not a situation where a player may feel that they're bigger than the club. Like, Ineos is going to back them if he says, this is the last straw for this player because I need another player. These are the type of moments where you need a full structure behind you to allow you to make these big decisions, whether it means dropping Rashford or Bruno, whoever it is. So I'm really hoping that he gets that support from Ineos at this moment. But again, you talk about feelings, who's going to score. It's just, maybe, look, I might look back at this next week and I'll look absolutely foolish, but Ten Hag is a survivor, and Ten Hag will win. We'll beat Villa, and we'll go into the international break being like, is Ten Hag in? Ten Hag, can he turn it around? And then we're going to come back, probably lose one game. Then be like, oh, it's all terrible again. So I don't know. But I'm hopeful. I just want to keep back in the team, back in the manager. But we just need to improve our intensity and our desire. And that's sad that we're saying that about a Manchester United team.
No, it is very much indeed. Big up Chalaboy Comics, as always, long-time caller, member, contributor to this show. K Flow with the super chat says, I want him gone, but also not looking forward to the next chapter because I'm bored and numb. United will happen to the next guy too. Well, that's this toxic relationship that we're in at the moment, isn't it, with Manchester United? That's what it means to be a Man United fan. Get hurt over and over and over again. And just when you think they can change, you go, no. And that's what it will be. When Ten Hag does go and the next guy comes in, provided his first name is not Gareth and his last name is not Southgate, you'll be like, right, okay, I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready. Let's do it. And then, like you say, 6 months down, I'll be like, oh, shit. not this all over again. That's what it will be. But hey, that's Manchester United, isn't it? What else are people saying here in the chat at the moment? Top player says Porto mid-table team at best in the Prem. Mason says, and over 3 seasons has it improved. Uncle says, what big decisions? He has played all of his cards. Ridwan says 3 clean sheets against struggling teams. And GJE says a win against Villa only helps the next manager. I to be honest with you, with this Villa thing at the weekend, yeah, just thinking about this, like, if he wins, will he keep his job? He probably will. I don't think he should, because again, I don't think it should hinge on 1 game. I don't think it should hinge on 2 games as well. But I think Ineos would be like, oh, we'll keep it. It was 4 points. You know what I mean? It'll be spun some way, but I don't. I just don't see it at the weekend. I'm terrified of that game. Well, I don't actually know. That's a lie. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not terrified of the game. I'm not terrified of games anymore when it comes to Man United. What's to be scared of about when you know what's going to happen as well? That would be illogical, wouldn't it? I'm really scared of this loss that I know we're going to lose. So yeah, there's actually nothing to be scared about, is there? I talked myself around very quick, didn't I? Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it. Let's go to another call. Tabs, what did you make of what you saw this evening?
First of all, good evening, Owen. Good evening, everyone on United View.
Good evening.
I want to go. So let's go pre-match. So when that lineup came out, and I saw Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fernandes, it reminded me of that meme, when Harry Redknapp managed QPR, and he said, let's sign Peter Crouch and Nico Kranjčar and get the band back together. Because
Yeah.
it's like 600 mil spent. You've got all these midfielders you bought Ugarte in, and you just started the exact same midfield that you started your United tenure off with. So that was quite alarming. The game itself, so the first 20 minutes, we were in a good position. You 2-0 up. Now just see the game out. Just game management. Either see it out as a 2-0 victory or just score more, but don't concede one, because with us, we concede one, you're going to concede another straight away, and that literally happened to a very average Porto side. I think if they were to play anyone in the like Arsenal or Liverpool or City, I think this season they would get smashed. Like, they were an average team.
Yeah.
And it was very reminiscent of that Galatasaray game last season, the away game where we were 2-0 up and then we just capitulated just like that.
Yeah.
So that was quite worrying. If I'm looking at our defenders, right, so De Ligt and Martinez, I don't know what you feel, Owen, but when I look at them, like, physically, they both look very small. Like, if you look at De Ligt compared to what he was at Ajax, he looks like a small person, and as a defender, you're supposed to be big and strong. And they look like two. So you know how Van Dijk is like the alpha defender, right? And then whoever's next one will be the second, the B side. So whether that's Kwanzaa or Konate. With both De Ligt and Martinez, they both look like B side defenders, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know which one of them, which one of them takes the reins.
Yeah, with De Ligt, certainly. He looked, I remember at one point in the first half, every time they zoomed into him, he looked exhausted. Like he was gushing with sweat.
Yeah, you can see his mouth wide open.
Yeah, like proper run around. And Martinez, as a partnership goes, you would think that they would complement each other quite well, but they were just all over the place. I mean, who wasn't? But they were just all over the place. Now, I agree that really does concern me, actually, that centre-back pairing. Ed, how are you feeling about Sunday, though? Is Sunday looking ahead? Do you think that's going to be the end for Eric, or could he survive?
I think I put a super chat down about half an hour ago on the full-time view show, and I honestly feel this is going to be very reminiscent of Ollie's 4-1 loss at Watford. I feel like we could get 4-1 on Sunday, and that'll be it. But really, if Ineos had any football sense to them, they would have already made the decision by now. That Sunday game shouldn't even have any bearing whether we win, lose, or draw. I think even if we beat Villa, he should still go. Because I'm thinking, right, so there's a general consensus that we've not been good since last season. That's false. We've actually not been good since the Carabao Cup win against Newcastle back in February of 22. Yeah. Since that game, we've gone downhill since.
Yeah.
And we're spending 150, 200 mil each window, and I'm not seeing any real progression. You might see glimpses of it here and there. You might see a good 30 minutes against Palace. It's not enough, though, for what we're spending. We're making baby steps, and I don't think it'll end well for Ten Hag. I see a big loss against Villa on Sunday. But even if we win, it doesn't mean anything because we won't get top four. And unfortunately, even though we're very early on, I do feel like the season, in terms of getting Champions League spot, is gone. And we can't bank on winning the Europa because we've only won 1 in 10 in Europe. So
you're right.
I don't know who.
It's almost like, actually, we always have to check ourselves a little bit, don't we? Because we were so arrogant with the Europa League. We're like, we're best team in the competition. We're going to be one of the favourites to win it. Our record in Europe's horrible.
It's atrocious. Like, we lost to Copenhagen last season away. I don't see how we win. I don't know how far we get the Europa, especially with the new format as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the season's a write-off. I don't know how you feel, Owen, but unless something miraculously changes, I don't see us getting anywhere above 6th place, and that's a big. Even coming 6th in the season will be tough.
Yeah, at the moment, certainly would feel like a big turnaround, wouldn't it? Absolutely. Big up, Tabs. Appreciate you calling in as well. I've seen a madness from Joe Blackman in the chat, by the way. I think as a result of this evening's performance, and also the dissolving of the Ten Hag Defence League, he's either turned to drinking or crack, because he's gone, now I want Don Carlo. Wait until the end of the season. Joe, what do they say? Don't drink and drive. Don't drink in live chat as well, because that is a madness. that is a madness. Carlo Ancelotti from Real Madrid. He'd be interested in the United job at the moment. I've got Mbappe. Like that. Give me Højlund. give me Xerxes. Give me Bruno Fernandes. That's what I want. Come on, man. Come on. I know we're in pain at the moment. We don't need to. We don't need to do that. Anyway, guys, look, there you go. That's me done for the evening. Big up to everyone. Appreciate everyone that's called in. I couldn't get your calls. Apologies. I will try to next time. Big up to all the members. Big up to everyone that's tuned in for the match view. Fan view should be on their way out if they're not out already. Flex in Portugal. KG from we call it the Asylum. I don't know where KG exists in. The KG, not the KG Asylum. He probably just lives in Arkham, like in Batman or something like that. My God. Yeah, so big up to everyone. Appreciate you all calling in, and we'll be back tomorrow morning with more content about it. Have a good one.